the opportunity and the privilege to be here tonight to conduct the business of the city, and we ask that you be with us and help us to make decisions that are wise in the best interest of our citizens and residents. Lord, we pray a special blessing of our city employees, our first responders this evening, that you'll keep us safe as we continue throughout our summer season. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Call to order the City Council meeting of July 18th, 2024. JP, will you lead us in the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I always think by the time I was doing that for the Arkansas thing, I never noticed.
Okay, Ms. Vicki, roll call.
J.P. Hodges.
Here.
Lewis Short.
Here.
Lane Tubbs.
Here.
Jim Adams.
Here.
Allie Sugg.
Here.
Melissa Choate.
Here.
Jim Lay.
Yes. Here.
Andy Eklund.
Here.
Attorney Prince.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
Members of the press.
Let the record show we have a quorum and we have a great audience tonight. Thank you all for coming. Okay, first off, I need a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented of the June 20th, 2024 council meeting.
So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Vicki?
Andy Eklund.
Abstain.
Jim Lay.
Yeah.
He said yes. Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
J.P. Hodges.
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Abstain.
Lewis Short.
Abstain.
We have 5.
Motion carried. Next, approval of the payments journals dated June 1st to June 30th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Vicki?
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Jim Lay.
Yes.
Lewis Short.
Yes.
J.P. Hodges.
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next, approval of street fund financial statement, sanitation fund financial, general fund, community center, O&M, miscellaneous funds dated June 30th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Vicki?
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Jim Lay.
Yes.
J.P. Hodges.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Lewis Short.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next, you have the supervisor reports in your packet. Do you have any questions for the supervisors?
I do. I want to insert, Scott, where are you?
Right up front.
Hi. Usually back further. The bulldozer, and I want to insert all that into that spreadsheet that I've kind of been working on.
I'm actually going to put that on hold
Okay.
until next year.
Till next year?
We've
Okay.
got too much paving issues right now with the storm.
Right. Okay.
After
Just
assessing the
postpone
streets,
that.
Right.
yeah.
Move it to
Yeah, he would actually prefer to ask for
more
some paving
funding.
dollars.
Yeah, more funding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of road issues right now.
I can imagine.
By the way, Scott, the guys were out early and phenomenal response from what I saw of trying to make the best out of where we're at until the drainage comes through. They were out early and did well. Thank you.
We appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, they had a lot today even, a lot of cleanup, and they're still not finished, but
Yeah, there's stuff
thank
everywhere.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
But they got it all out of the ditches and they got it all out of the street, and I don't know how you do any better than that.
Can I ask one more question, Scott? Not to put him on the spot, but I try to keep my spreadsheet updated. Did we ever renew the leases on those garbage trucks?
We're about to, we got, discuss that too tonight.
Perfect.
Okay.
I see it right there at the bottom half.
I wanted to ask about the broiler that has been out since March. It was kind of vague what was in there and what's going on with the train. It just seems like a really long time.
It has been. So we actually met with them, was it yesterday?
Yes.
No, it was yesterday or Tuesday?
Yeah.
It was Tuesday.
Okay.
It was Tuesday, finalizing that. It's gonna ship September the 9th.
So is it
Ship.
a parts issue, like getting
So
the,
the boilers that they're at right now, and Nick might speak to this as well, but they've reached their lifespan, whether that be poor maintenance or whatever it might have been in the past. Obviously 15 years old as over the facility, with the chlorine running through there. Everything is obsolete on both boilers now, so they have to make the parts themselves to even try to fix it. It was one of those situations, I think, when it went out in March, I think the quote that I had was about $23,000 that we could spend when we know we're gonna replace them later this year. We decided to save that money. I knew it would get hot in the summertime, so the water temperature has been holding. Now we kind of got toward the end, where I'm kind of worried about, let's get it in before October, it starts getting cold at night. We met on Tuesday, September 9th, is when it was gonna ship. And it's actually shipping from Tennessee, I believe, so it should be a pretty quick ship, and then they need about a week to install.
okay,
So
Thank
that's
you.
where we're at.
thank you for that update.
And that train project should get started September?
Everything in September except for the pullback.
Yes.
Gonna do the lights here first, the first week in September, and then by then, the boiler should be here, and they'll be working on the full design.
Can we get an update on the splash pad too, where we're at on that?
Yeah, sure. I'm hoping to have those contracts all available for approval at the August meeting. So we've got the equipment package is all, I think, finalized. We're just waiting on the construction package to come in. We had some design details that you approved, was that last month?
Last month, yeah.
Last month. So we're working with, I had a meeting with the contractor on Monday, so we were getting all of that together. We'll have a lot more design to do, but at least you should have the GMP to put in front of you guys next month.
So when are we thinking that project will when will the ground break on that? Any clue?
If we get it in August, I don't see any reason why we can't be turning dirt at the end of September, October. The lead time of the equipment is 16 weeks, but that will give them plenty of time to do all their grading work. There's a lot to do before equipment shows up. So
Okay.
they shouldn't have any problem getting started immediately.
Okay.
How much extra are we able to throw at that?
Additional money from where we started.
He was approved at
Approximate.
about 600, right?
We started at 600, we are, I think, gonna be at 1.5 million. That will be able to fund.
Overall length of the project time was?
16 weeks.
From groundbreaking.
I mean, I think we'll be starting up, hopefully, testing everything March, April, and ready to rock and roll in May of next year.
Awesome.
Nice. Perfect timeline.
September to May.
While you're up here, when are you starting stormwater again?
I can speak to that.
Can you,
It
hey,
seems timely.
could you grab a mic?
Yeah,
Yeah, because it won't pick up the sound on the video if you don't have a microphone. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, can you repeat your question?
Okay. Can we have a update on the stormwater? I mean, I know some redesigns had to happen, and we're still working through that, but it seems kind of timely. We had a little bit of rain this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, so what we have approved as far as design, as it stands right now, is the 3rd Street drainage. Because we had 3 other projects outside of that were originally scoped as part of the bond. And after we did our estimate, we were thinking there really wasn't any need due to funding to throw design dollars at those others because we were going to run short. We were going to be able to address 3rd Street. So we had that contract approved, I believe, in January. That design is complete. It is sitting on the shelf. It is ready to go. We are waiting on 2 things. Number one, all of that has been submitted to the Highway Department, and I think in February it was submitted. I still don't have approval to get in the highway to do that project. If you all would like to assist, I can be happy to share contacts on who we can get a hold of to do that. But subsequent to that, I would, even if we're ready to bid, we could advertise Sunday, but I wouldn't, because what has happened since then is we were awarded some FEMA money from a brick grant that just came out of nowhere that we had applied for years ago that got awarded. So we have been working hard to get through that process because the value of that is, I think it's $6 million grant. So we're going to be able to tag all that back into these original, so everything that was originally scoped is now going to easily be funded plus a little. But until it's a 75-25 match, so the city's got to match 25, we're going to use 3rd Street as our match. So by doing what we were already going to do, we're going to free up all of those dollars. But I can't move forward on that until that funding is in place and approved and ready to go. Our projection on that is September.
Perfect.
September's gonna be busy.
And that's
It is
only if the
gonna be
highway
very-
department,
Do what?
and that's only if the highway department says go, right?
Yeah, we should talk about that. We need to get them moving.
Can we talk, like, do we need to try to help on our end? Is this?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so do you mind sharing some contacts that we can
I absolutely will.
start pestering?
I'll contacts and I'll send you emails and exactly where we're at.
Okay.
Should we contact legislators like Josh?
No, not yet. I think we
Okay.
can work through the district on it. We just got to get some movement. We need to get to some clarity so we can get a permit. I think there's some things that they need to do on their end as far as going across. I think they need to invest in their infrastructure under the highway. I've inquired about all this, asked for meeting setups. I mean, that's been going on for months and still have not had a sit down formal with them. It's time to get moving. I mean, It would be nice to have all of that in place because once this funding is released, I mean, there's really nothing holding us up. So if we can get all of that clear beforehand, we're ready to go.
How much is that we have set aside for that? You said that we'll use the bond money to do the down payment and get the rest of it for free. How much was that? I don't remember.
The original bond amount
Yeah.
was, I think we had 3.2 available. I think after, initial expenses, there's probably 2.9 in there. That was barely going to cover 3rd Street.
Perfect.
So with all this, we'll be able to finish 3rd Street properly, go hit 5th, the stuff here uptown, around the Lohawk Trailwood area, address some issues in Copperfield and Sulphur Creek.
Perfect. Thank you for.
Any other questions?
That's awesome. Thank you.
Just because of what happened yesterday, like, what we're looking at fixing, I mean, will that help? Like, what happened yesterday?
It
I
will
mean, I know
absolute-
yesterday was kind of a crazy day anyways. I mean,
Oh,
not
sure.
that much rain comes down at once like that, kind of a freak thing. But will it help?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, it will help. I'm cautious to say it's going to solve all problems because that's such a
Yeah.
relative, we only design to certain events. So across the highway at 3rd, the highway department will mandate we're at a 50-year, which even that event yesterday was nowhere near a 50. But just because you invest in stormwater doesn't mean, if you get a torrential event that's a 100-year storm, 1% chance, nothing is going to happen. I mean, that's just not reasonable. So it will help. It will certainly help the folks along 3rd Street that flood, and that's not the first time. And, I wish it was going to be the last. I just can't say it will be, and 5th, but it's going to greatly improve the conditions down there.
Perfect.
Any other?
Thanks for all your work on it.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, our unfinished business, the bulldozer, we would like to discuss maybe a budget item for paving, a certain amount. I don't know if you guys want to decide that tonight, if you want more time to look at the budget, and we can do it at the
Do
next
we
meeting.
have an idea of what you need?
Like a scope or?
And it's gonna be coming out of street, so like 200,000 would be amazing.
I think we have, what,
I know that's a lot.
615,000 in that account, if I remember correctly when I saw it earlier today. Let me look real quick. I just gotta get it open here, I'm sorry.
I saw a driveway collapse on
Right.
Front Street, and I'm guessing, are there other places just like that where there's things that have collapsed? and-
Well, that culvert has previous damage from a fire.
Yeah, just like this.
However, Front Street right there is gotta be repaired.
So we have.
And we do have culverts that need,
We have $615,000 in the street fund. We also have some CDs that we could not renew as well. So to get the city back, Scott, I put you on the spot again. What are you thinking as a start for a month to get us going? For paving, repairs, storm fixing, all this stuff. I mean, keeping in mind that we can meet again next
After my
month.
list from yesterday, I honestly don't know. And to answer your question, yes, there is more spots like that.
Because this is an emergency situation, and so is there some way we can release something like he was saying for a month and then get more of a
Right.
scope
I mean, if we just
for our
say-
next meeting and we can
say
release some more
50,000,
funds?
Is that enough to get going for a month?
It's a start.
Or do you want, I mean, looks like we have the money in the fund, we can non-renew a CD if we have to get the city back up where it should be after a 100-year flood. I mean, it's certainly what the taxpayers are paying taxes for, right?
Absolutely.
And he said the 150,000 for the bulldozer was in his budget already. So if we take that out of the
I
budget,
need to look at that too. I mean, I'm not sure that I think I put 150,000 in when we were talking about it, but I don't remember the bulldozer specifically, but it doesn't matter if we're not gonna do
Yeah.
it. I mean, I think we really should
I would
be-
say at least 150 to 200 that we could get for roads.
Oh, let me look, hold on. Okay, so street.
But he's gonna want that back next year. He's gonna ask for it again.
You ain't getting it right now. We're getting roads right now.
I'm just saying, it's gonna show up again.
Gotta work on
there's
that.
a lot of things we can do with that.
Street ends up being about net, sanitation. Street ends up being about net, like what comes in versus what goes out of the standard budget. But, I mean, we have money in the account, so what do you think? 75,000? You have to give us some guidance. I don't have any idea what some of this costs.
Yeah, I don't at this point either.
What,
Should we start
will
at
75
100?
get you through till next month, till we get a scope on it?
I would think.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
we can start with it.
All right. Okay, let's make a motion to
Let's do 100.
Yeah.
make you feel better.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, because roads are expensive.
Like,
Asphalt's expensive.
Yeah.
let's just get these roads done. I'd say
What
at
about
least.
99,000?
No.
All right, I make a motion to allocate $100,000 out of the street fund available for paving and general maintenance after the storm.
I second that.
Absolutely.
Any discussion? Miss Vicky, when you're ready.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Motion carried.
And, because I know I'm going to get this question, Scott, when do you think Front Street, how long do you think it'll take to fix that road? Because I'm afraid there's going to be a wreck. I've seen where people just come up over that hill and pop up over that, and
Well, that's a matter of basically cutting it all, putting a new culvert in that driveway, and getting it repaved.
yeah.
Our end wouldn't be very long, it's probably the paving end. I mean, if we get,
We can get it.
BK in and maybe do, when we do the kiosks, maybe since that's just down the road, get that worked in, or they can do it at the same time.
Yeah.
Do we need to
I mean,
reroute
Our end wouldn't be
traffic?
very long at all. I mean, I can get it cut and gravel, but, it's gonna be gravel.
And gravel might be fine. Right now, it's just broken up asphalt. It's not safe, so.
Yeah.
Oh, and they cleaned it up. You should have seen it yesterday.
You sent me the picture. It was bad.
Do we need any kind of like rerouting of traffic or anything if it's a hazard? Until we can get it,
Do we
Well,
have
we
any?
got a barrel on the actual
I saw
end
that.
of the drive, where
Yeah.
there's actually another hole.
But you can't drive over it, because
Oh,
so
right,
everybody
no,
is
you can't
stopping
drive
there.
over them.
Yeah, so everybody's stopping there, and then when they're stopping there, then those people are coming over the hill, and then you're waiting for it. So it's just,
Do we have any signs we could put up, like slow traffic or?
I can get it cut out and gravel it.
That would probably be better than,
Okay.
And then when they can come pave it, probably good to drive on it for a few weeks anyway.
Yeah.
Pack that
so-
gravel.
yeah.
Thanks,
Great.
Scott.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, third and final reading of rezoning R1 to RR.
Where is that?
We could do it by
It was in your
title.
last month's
Oh, we
packet.
can do it by title only?
Mhm.
Go ahead, Ally, knock it out.
Find it. Yeah.
Three different cases.
Yeah, I missed one too.
Jim, I'll read it for you. Read it.
Thank you, thank you.
An ordinance amending the zoning map attached thereto and for other purposes, whereas the zoning map of the city of Heber Springs classified as residential zoning R1, the following described real property, the real property to wit, a part of the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter of section 16, township 10 north, range 10 west, Cleveland County, Arkansas, described as beginning at the northeast corner of said southwest quarter, then along the east line thereof, south 0107 47 west, 701.34 feet, then north 8650 45 west, 1335.03 feet to a point on the west line of said southwest quarter, then along said west line north 012458 east, 171.10 feet, then south 8650 39 east, 360.0 feet, then north 012458 east, 530.16 feet to a point on the north line of said southwest quarter, then along said north line south 8650 39 east, 971.52 feet to the point of beginning containing 17.06 acres, more or less, being more accurately described in a survey prepared by Nicholas Tucker, LS 1755, dated August 2022, as follows: part of the southwest quarter of section 16, township 10 north, range 10 west, Cleveland County, and being more particularly described as follows: beginning at a found rebar, said point being at the northeast corner of said southwest quarter, then along the east line of said southwest quarter, south 011444 west, a distance of 700.95 feet to a found rebar, thence leaving said east line north 865611 west, a distance of 1335.03 feet to a point, said point being on the west line of said southwest quarter, thence along said west line north 020806 east, a distance of 171.15 feet to a point, thence leaving said west line south 870503 east, a distance of 360.00 feet to a found rebar, thence north 011408 east, a distance of 529.22 feet to a found rebar, said point being on the north line of said southwest quarter, thence along said north line south 865439 east, a distance of 971.84 feet to the point of beginning. This tract contains 17.06 acres, more or less. Whereas a petition has been filed with the City of Heber Springs Planning and Zoning Commission for a rezoning of the real property from residential zone R1 to rural resort zone RR. And whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Heber Springs, Arkansas, having conducted a public hearing after giving notice of, as required by law, and having approved said petition and recommended to the City Council the rezoning of said land, and City Council, having reviewed the same, has determined that it would be in the best interest of the City of Heber Springs and its inhabitants if said property be rezoned as requested. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Heber Springs, Arkansas, as follows: Section 1, that this ordinance and the zoning map of the City of Heber Springs, Arkansas be and hereby is amended to show that the above described real property is reclassified as residential zone R1 to rural resort zone RR for the consideration and upon the conditions herein set out. Section 2, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So we need a motion to, go ahead.
Motion to approve the change.
Do it by title only 2 more times, or no?
No.
This is our
Okay,
third.
this is our third reading.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Vicki, do you have a number?
It will be 2024-14.
When you're ready.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Lewis Short,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes,
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next, we have our mobile food vendor ordinance.
Can I, before we get into that?
Yeah.
I wasn't here last week, and I don't want to waste anyone's, I want to be a good steward of your time doing all this. And so for that, I apologize. I have a question about the mobile food ordinance.
Okay.
It all looks fine to me. I really don't have any issues with it. The only thing I have a question about is, what if you have the grandfathered in people like Stream, and now we have the seafood place? Stream in particular built a structure around theirs, and I know the other place did too, but a little more temporary than the other one. And I could be reading it wrong, but to me, I didn't see where that gives us any latitude to make exceptions based on the fact that exceptions may need to be made. Am I missing that in this?
No, I don't think so. We had talked about that earlier. I think that they may have to come ask for some sort of variance unless there's something that may need to be
It shouldn't be in here necessarily.
Say that again?
There shouldn't be wording in here to that effect of if a variance needs to be made. And I'm asking, I don't know the legalese of any of this. I just want to make sure that if we are to pass this, that we're not like all of a sudden knocking on their door and saying,
There's always room for a variance.
okay. We just have to make sure we approve it.
Because one thing we talked about last month is those two technically, as Ronnie said, are considered permanent structures?
I think they would be now, right? Because even if, having read this, you gotta move, you can't be within sight distance for however many days.
But then if they're considered permanent structures, then they're under other codes.
The big thick code book.
The
Are they
big
within
thick code
that?
book like all other businesses.
I mean, I would think that that'd be.
So,
And that fell into them owning the property as well, right?
Well, and if they have water and electricity,
It's like permanently installed utilities.
right.
So they have to
Their
have
business.
sewer, water, all that, and according to.
The big book, yes.
So,
UDC book.
so.
Ronnie, did you have something to say back there?
Ronnie,
Yes.
can you clarify
He's
all
getting our
that?
attention.
Yeah,
A minute to do that?
sorry about that. I turned everything else down, but not this one. So to address that, at the last meeting, I had discussed that, saying they had established utilities, they had utilities in their name, their intention was to be set up permanently on the location, and that's how I had interpreted it. After sitting down with the Planning and Zoning Commission this previous month, we actually discussed this in the Planning and Zoning Commission's meeting and discussed that we can't, just because they have utilities established, does not say that they're permanent on that location. If they're gonna be permanent on that location, they're gonna have to meet the, whatever the code, or whatever the zoning code requires. So for C1, C2, whatever the code requires for a structure with your facades, all your different restrictions, they're gonna have to fall into meeting those, or a variance would have to be issued giving them an exception.
I can certainly see it going forward. I mean, it's just, it feels unfair to go back and people have been doing business, you know what I mean? You gotta
Right.
kind of grandfather in.
And in that meeting, I will tell y'all, in that meeting, both of those were discussed, and there was actually a third one that was discussed as well. There's three locations that were discussed that all fall into that kind of scenario that we would have to look at with a variance and make the decision on a variance.
So, because we discussed, there's already something in place because the food plot, they had to move. So even when food plot was here, they had to hook up that trailer and move it every so often. So there's already an ordinance that says that. So technically, they fall under that.
There is?
Yes, food plot had to move.
But there was, in the last mobile vendors ordinance, the one that was put in, I guess, in, I think, October of last year, there was nothing in that ordinance with a timeline of how long somebody could sit on a piece of property.
I see it now.
But it is in this one. So,
So what was that from?
I don't know,
previously?
because that was prior to me coming into the office. So I don't know where they were getting that from.
Because that still could be an ordinance.
Yeah,
If
so
we didn't,
there was two ordinances. There was the mobile food/business vendors ordinance, October 2023. And then there was a previous ordinance that was listed as the transient vendors ordinance. I want to say it was maybe 6 or 8 years ago, and it didn't have any timelines on how long somebody could be set up on a location either. Those are the only two I could find. And going back and looking, that's the only two that the municipal code book referred to.
Might have been one of those urban legends, somebody told them to move and they moved it every once in a while.
Doug told
True
me that.
story.
Yeah,
I don't
know.
I get that in too. My only concern with what I saw here was basically the variance stuff. So would we alert them, or are they just grandfathered, or what do we do?
I think we should probably alert them and say,
Yeah.
this is what we need to do.
So what does that mean? Like, since it does say that they will have to meet all requirements for the Unified Development Code, what exactly would they have to do different at those locations?
So the UDC, the Unified Development Code,
Yeah.
it specifically states, so in a commercial property, for C1 or C2 zoning, there are specific requirements. So just one example, we have in there, if you were to build a metal structure, a metal building, a red iron metal building, you have to have facade requirements of, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's 36 inches? 36 inch of some kind of decorative facade around it, whether that's brick or rock or something coming up on it, so it's not just a metal building.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other things in there, like, without having it right in front of me, I can't tell you exactly, I don't want to speak wrong. But you can see them on our website. You can go into the website and look at the zoning and what the zoning requires, and then what each zoning restrictions have. Now, as far as the UDC part, that's not all on there, but we can get it for you.
So I'm just wondering if it would be better to consider them as a mobile food truck or to consider them as a permanent structure.
Well,
Is there gonna be
If-
more put on them
if
if they fall under those rules?
So, to give you an idea, I can give you an example of a variance. Back in May, we did a variance for a house that the house was inside the setbacks of the street. They were selling the property, the house was, I think, a foot past the setback. So we had to do a variance, because in order for their title company and their finance company to finance the house, meaning if that house, something happened to it, would they be able to fix it? Without that variance, or if they tore it down without a variance, they couldn't build the house back in the exact same location because they have to follow those existing setbacks. So we issued a variance for that property saying that we were accepting the fact that that house is where it sits.
So here's my concern on that. So if we give a variance to this food truck out here for a really big parking garage, then I feel like we would have to do that for any business that wants to put a very big metal parking garage in their parking lot, right?
So I would say how we handle that is, as the Planning and Zoning Commission, we would sit and discuss it on what we would be able to allow and what the variance would allow. That's not something without us having that meeting that I can talk now and say, this is what we would do or not do. But it would definitely be something that would come back. That way it's not just me saying, this is the variance, this is what we're doing, but it's going back on that commission, just like we bring stuff to the city council, going back on them to discuss.
It's also different retroactive versus going forward. So it's almost like
Well, if
a
we
reactionary.
grandfather,
draw a line.
It's a reactionary
That's
response.
awesome,
Okay, we
yeah.
saw something that we weren't super pumped about. Going forward, we don't want any more of these type structures. You know what I mean? So it's hard to, this is a reactionary response to it, of course, but it doesn't mean that we want a million of them.
yeah. I mean, that's my concern, is if we give it to one, do we have to give it
I
to
don't
everybody?
think you do. If
I don't think
they
so.
beat it.
And like on the timelines that you put on this, did you pull this from like other cities and like kind of what they're doing? 'Cause I know there a lot of people are dealing with the same issue and trying to figure out how to handle all these mobile food vendors.
Yes.
Is that kind of where you pulled this from?
Yeah, the timelines I pulled were from some other cities. Some of them were less, some of them were considerably more.
Yeah.
So I kind of, the numbers exactly didn't come from other cities. The numbers kind of come into the 7-day permits, the 7-day temporary permit, trying to use that.
I think it all comes into whatever your city and your city council and your citizens want your city to be, right? If you don't want a lot of those, you make them move it every 12 hours.
Right.
If you want a bunch of them, you keep them, let them stay a month.
Yeah.
And so I think that what we've struck here as a first try seems reasonable to me.
This is
Seems
like the
we
third
still-
try.
Moving forward though.
Yeah, moving forward.
Moving
I mean,
forward.
it can change.
So as the planning and zoning, and you said 3, I mean, I can automatically, let's just like, take Stream, for example. That facility that was down there has been there for decades. They move it in there, they actually put a little awning out there with it. Are they grandfathered in, or they have to have a variance?
They would have to have a variance.
They'd have to-
We would still issue a variance to under the grandfathering them in, is the way I understand that would work.
Because the variance would allow them to keep conducting business as they are currently.
Current.
Not as if they added to it, which I guess may require another variance.
Technically, they should have already had to get a variance,
If they're considered
even
a
if we don't do
permanent-
this.
I mean,
Under our current ordinance that's
Well, I
already
think
in
that-
place.
I think that's something that Ronnie just has to go down and say, look, okay, we passed this. We knew about you guys when we did it. Let's talk about what you need for a variance to make it work. Because
Correct.
we love what you guys have. It looks beautiful. I mean, they really, it's very nice.
It's cool.
It's not an eyesore. But it doesn't mean that the next one who tries to emulate them isn't gonna be.
And this was just brought to my attention, the on Stream, or Steam Stream, there is actually possibly, I'll have to go back and look, there was a approved site plan for them previously. So that would also help.
They own the building right in front of it, don't they?
They do, they're actually in the process of doing some remodeling on that building and expanding.
Right. So they're even a little bit unique in the fact that it's.
They're very
Anyway.
unique in their setup.
On these, like restaurant, I mean, if it's a mobile food vendor that's gonna be considered there permanently, do we make restaurants have to have facilities like bathrooms and things like that available to customers? Is that something that's in our code book?
Then
Permanent.
what
Like
about
permanent?
trash?
There is in the NFPA building codes have got some bathroom restrictions based on occupancy. Everything's based on what the occupancy is. So if you have a building that has an occupancy, a very small occupancy, you might not have to have a public facility in it.
Zero occupancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wondered what kind of,
Is outdoor seating considered occupancy?
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so, but I don't know.
Nick?
Yes, Nick?
Hey, Nick.
I would say
We're gonna need you to have a microphone.
I don't know. I would say what's probable in this instance is since we're referring to the UDC, we need to go back to the UDC and address this within those commercial setbacks and zoning requirements. So I think what we're trying to get at here is like there needs to be a standard. If somebody's gonna come in and have a food truck that they want to be considered permanent, as Stream has done, and there needs to be a minimum set of standards that they need to adhere to in that situation, because that's what we're trying to make sure of. And same thing with, there may be something, there's gonna be multiples in an area that we require a whole site plan and spell out exactly what you have to meet in order to do that. So you don't get into this, picking and choosing one, this one, that one. It's, hey, everybody knows the rules, you're playing by the same, everybody's on the same level playing field here, you know exactly what it is. I think that's where we're gonna wind up with this, but we have to have something to start off of and kick it to. We need to address that next.
So do we need to wait till that gets addressed before we pass this ordinance?
And that's up to you, I'm something.
Thanks.
And I just want to, just so, I'm not sure everybody is aware in the room, Nick is the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. So for him
Thanks for
speaking
not
on that.
identifying
He's just some
yourself.
guy.
Can we address like certain
Okay, so-
specific spots in town? Or is that, we shouldn't do that?
I wouldn't. Unless somebody wanted to put in something with multiple.
Okay,
Sites.
so Back Alley Eats, for instance, is a food court. Do we limit how many food courts are gonna be around?
Thank you.
I think that falls back
I think that's
into,
exactly what I'm talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it was marketed, but we have no ordinance or any requirement on that. We need one. Those are the types of things we need to address. So if somebody were to come in, once again, it needs public safety, it needs, it's trash, parking, the aesthetic we're going for, all those things that have a standard. Right now, we don't have anything.
There's nothing. So essentially, this is creating an ordinance that's specifying, I guess it would be specifically if you're mobile food, based on what it's saying here, you need to move every few days.
Well, there has to be something that determines what's permanent and what's not.
Right.
Right? So
Correct.
something, a thing is either permanent or it's not. Utility doesn't indicate that.
No.
An RV park is an example of that. You can have an RV park that has utilities for every single trailer. They can pick up and move whenever they want.
Correct.
It's not established permanence. Neither does the permit.
Correct.
You have an annual permit. It allows you to operate within the city for 365 calendar days a year versus a temporary permit. That is not established permanence. So-
What in your mind does establish permits?
I think that's, I think if it's going to be there, I mean, one, it really shouldn't be, I mean, again, Stream has the ability to be mobile, but it's not
Yeah, it's
mobile.
not.
They've invested, some serious infrastructure. It's not just like they put up a temporary awning. I mean, that looks nice, it has outdoor seating, it has lighting, all those things we need to establish exactly what the criteria is. And if there's gonna be multiples, it's the same thing. We're gonna say there's gotta be green space. I mean, what are those requirements that are spelled out that an investor or a business owner can know going in advance, coming in advance? But once again, as far as, Ronnie's concerned on holding people's feet to the fire now, he has to have something to go off of, which I think is pretty well spelled out.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
It's just, if we're gonna deal with the permanent structure, we need to deal with that in the UDC, which is what that's referring to. We can do that, we can lead with that, and you can table that tonight, or we can do this and address it later. I mean, it's kind of chicken and egg.
Yeah, it's one of those things of, we know who the 2, 3, I don't know, who's the third one?
tropical snow.
Okay, we know who the 3 are, right? So we just basically put on record, those are the 3 that we have to deal with in another manner. But it's still summer, and we still have a Labor Day holiday coming up where we have all the transients coming in.
Well,
We could enforce this for all of that going forward, knowing that we have 3 on record that we probably
how
have to
does
deal
that
with in a
fit
different
in
manner.
with the fruit and vegetable stand?
Well, we're getting.
It's in there. That was one of them.
There's
part
2
two.
more.
That's part
There are 2 more.
Yeah.
So I guess knowing that they're under a umbrella of they're probably gonna be okay, or at least we're not gonna deal with them for now, I'm okay with moving forward with this.
Okay, I'm there with you.
If it shields us from the random people showing up at AT&T parking lot selling
Right.
corn dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just one last thing.
Yeah.
We kind of had the same issue with the RV parks, where we put a temporary moratorium on there until we could figure out a permanent ordinance solution.
Correct. Yep.
And we could, I think, do the same thing if you wanted to on the permanent, like, you can go ahead and address this, and then we can deal with the permanent and just put a moratorium on that until we get ready.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, great plan. Let's do that.
Yeah, on permanent mobile food vendors, permanent movable food vendors. So does that have to be the moratorium? Did we just do that verbally by a motion?
We had an
We-
ordinance.
an ordinance.
An ordinance?
Yeah.
Do you have that prepared?
Sure.
I can do that right now.
You need my iPad?
Okay. All right. Nick, thank you for your insights on that too.
Yes.
And if we need to table this until August, we can make sure that moratorium's written and everything is in place in August.
What's
if we
your
need to.
preference?
I think
That's gonna be again up to the city council.
I think we need to go and do this now because they come
Yes.
August.
Let's do it.
Yes, I say we
The
move.
So we're
moratorium.
gonna do it under emergency?
Yes.
Yeah, we know about those three businesses. We're not
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah.
do
We all know
anything
about
There
it.
is an emergency clause on this
crazy. Yeah, on all three of them.
Mhm.
Okay. Man, I feel great. Want to talk about it again?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Which one am I doing here?
Just, you can move to read it by title only all three times.
one. I make a motion to
Well, okay.
place on first reading by title only.
Go.
No, I didn't make the
No,
motion.
I only do the long ones.
I'll read it. What, 2024? Oh,
I made a motion to make it on first reading by title only.
Be 15.
JP.
Second.
15.
Yeah, yeah.
You ready for?
An ordinance to establish standards for mobile food vendors within the city limits of Heber Springs, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Didn't we need to vote?
Yeah, we needed
Yeah,
to
we
Better
vote.
vote to, yeah. to
Put it on title.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a motion.
Got
second.
excited. Okay, Vicky, when you're ready.
I was gonna
Okay,
read it.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Lane,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinance 2024-15.
15.
An ordinance to establish standards for mobile food vendors within the city limits of Heber Springs, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Make a motion to place on second reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Ordinance number 2024-15, an ordinance to establish standards for mobile food vendors within the city limits of Heber Springs, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Make a motion to place on third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Any discussion? Vicky?
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Motion carried.
I didn't vote, but it's a yes.
Oh, Ally Sugg, sorry, I missed you. My hand's tired.
There's
Jim?
one account for the street fund, going back to the street fund emergency thing that has like 300,000 in it. That's one we'll pull from, obviously. The other one doesn't have quite enough. We have several CDs that we can non-renew as well.
Okay, we have this down on, CDs down on new business.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go back. You have to do an emergency?
Title only.
We got to adopt the
Adopt
first.
So you gotta do
ordinance,
the,
yeah.
read the third reading by
You gotta do it
title
one more time.
Oh, did I
think.
have it,
Yeah.
okay.
We're on number 3 now.
Ordinance number 2024-15, an ordinance to establish standards for mobile food vendors within the city limits of Heber Springs, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
I move we adopt the ordinance.
Second. Got it.
Vicky?
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Move we adopt the emergency clause.
Second?
Any discussion? Vicky?
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Motion carried. Next up, transient vendor ordinance.
So this reads the same as the mobile food vendor ordinance.
I think that's correct. And I don't disagree with what it's, I mean, personally.
Just a couple of notes just to make sure you see is the timelines.
Yeah, so 30 days.
This, where you can be set up, how long, and how long you have to be gone from that location before you can return.
Also addresses the door-to-door.
Yeah, I
Yes.
see that. Nothing after 6 PM or dark. I like that.
Make a motion, we place the transient business vendors ordinance on first reading by title only.
Would you like me to read it? I need to do the second first. Second. Would you like me to read it?
You gotta vote.
After the vote.
Vicky?
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Absolutely.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Lewis Short,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinance number 2024-16. Is that correct?
15.
I thought 15 was the last one.
15 was, yeah, the
Oh.
mobile.
You're right.
You're right.
Cool. An ordinance to establish standards for transient business vendors within the city limits of Heber Springs, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
I make a motion to place on second reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lewis Short,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinance 2024-16, an ordinance to establish standards for transient business vendors within the city limits of Heber Springs, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
I make a motion to place on third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lewis Short,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinance 2024-16, an ordinance to establish standards for transient business vendors within the city limits of Heber Springs, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Second. Second.
Any discussion? Vicky?
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Lewis Short,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Make a motion to adopt the emergency clause.
Yeah.
Second.
Any discussion? Vicky?
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Lewis Short,
Yes.
Motion carried. All right, next up is the farmer's market.
I've got a question about this.
Sure.
Years ago, we established that Spring Park was going to be the farmer's market. And at that time, I was under the impression that a city could not charge someone to set up at a predetermined farmer's market location. Is that not the case anymore, or, you know? And I see other cities of charging, but
I don't know any restriction against that.
And I have spoken with Josh about making that possible again, to do it like on Saturdays, like from 8 to 12, have the pavilion just for produce.
and that may be what it was if we have a designated location, we don't, it's.
You're talking about the $25 fee.
You can't charge, right, but if they're gonna set up it wherever, that we can, I don't know. But since other cities are doing it, obviously there's something that I'm not aware of.
So I'll address that. The way I understood it in my research was we cannot charge rental space fees for a farmer's market. If you have a designated farmer's market, so for instance, Conway has a designated farmer's market, but they can require a permit to vend. They don't require a permit to set up on that location. They're actually requiring a permit to vend as a farmer's market vendor, is the way I read that.
Is there a significant amount of cleanup or city effort to get it all back together after one of these things is done? Like costs, are there
I think
costs
they're-
incurred?
I think they're pretty much self-sufficient, really. They're selling watermelon and you're gone. I mean, I don't know what there's.
The only, and we brought this up the last time, the one that's by Kasey's. and you said that was considered permanent, right? So do they fall
It's
under the
gonna fall-
codes?
It's gonna fall in just like these other three do.
Okay,
We're gonna have to address it.
okay, that's what I was wondering,
somehow,
because
because
if
they
they're
are not.
considered permanent too, then they
Right.
can't just put
Right.
up a storage, you know, a parking, metal parking thing
Right.
with 15 signs out
And
front.
20-yard signs out there.
Yeah, so that was, I was wondering about that one.
Yeah, no, it'll have to be addressed the same way.
Okay.
With it, it's gonna be like streams in the fact that it is, the person that's setting up there is the property owner. Where the Taste of Louisiana one is not, they're renting the property, but it's still. it's gonna
But
have to be
just
addressed.
because you're the property owner, doesn't mean you could just go out
No.
there and set
No.
up whatever you want to.
No,
Okay, that's what I was,
Gotta follow the uniform building code.
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
In that one, again, just to address the restrictions on how long, that one is. That one is probably the most lenient of the three. I do want y'all to notice that, in what we require them, how they can set up and how long they can be set on a location. That they can return back to the same location, those kind of things, so.
So Ronnie, I had a guy call this week that's a property owner, and he's wanting to do a food court farmer's market. Does this cover that?
In the farmer's market ordinance, it specifically states that it's gotta be 80% agriculture product. It can only be 20% non-agriculture product. So, an example of that would be is if you had somebody that, sold honey, but they also had a few T-shirts that talked about their honey business, they could still sell those T-shirts for their business. That's the 80-20 rule. But it specifically states in there that they cannot have prepared, they cannot prepare foods. It cannot be a prepared food. Or
So a
prepare
food
foods
truck
on site.
A food truck can't be on the same lot as,
They could be on the same location, but they would not fall under the same.
okay, yeah.
They're not,
gotcha.
they're mobile then.
Okay.
They're a mobile vendor,
Mobile
not a farmer's market vendor. So
Right.
they would fall under the mobile vendors ordinance and have to follow the restrictions of the mobile vendors ordinance. Where the farmer's market ordinance, they don't have to have, for instance, they don't have to have the health department permit
Right.
to sell cupcakes, because those cupcakes fall under the
It was cottage.
Freedom Food Act.
And I may be looking right over the top of this somewhere, but like Chief Robitel had the back alley eats. Do they brunt everything on this, or does, do the vendors that are coming in
Everything
have
falls
to?
back on the vendor.
Okay,
Yeah, we do not have anything that says that the location can purchase it. That actually has come into play with another business.
Okay.
That wants to do something very similar, and we've explained to them it falls on the vendor. But that was part of the reasoning behind doing the temporary permit.
okay.
Is if that vendor's gonna be at that location for 2 or 3 days, they have a $50 permit, and then they're good, for that time that they're there. Which in turn would actually turn out better for us, because it gives us the ability to monitor it closer.
So does the food court then just like, it have to advise the mobile food vendor, hey, you gotta go see Ronnie?
Yes, yeah, if they're gonna set up a food court, they're gonna have to,
Get a permit.
yeah.
Okay.
Their vendors are gonna have permits.
Gotcha.
Now, whether they advise the vendors or not, that's up to them.
But do
if
we
they
have
don't-
coverage in all this for?
If they don't advise the vendors, then we're gonna be visiting the vendors and explaining you have to have a permit.
Yeah, it all really falls on the individuals, it looks like, not.
Right.
It's mainly on whoever has the mobile food place,
This will get him
whoever's
started
selling the
before he leaves.
watermelons, yeah. Do you have an objection to the $25 fee?
Oh, no, no. I just want to make sure we were covering our rears.
Right.
Making sure we didn't.
And on that one, it's literally, the $25 fee is just for the administrative cost to maintain and monitor it. but it's not to do really anything else. It's just really to make sure that we do have some control.
Well, and if they're at the spring park under the pavilion where the bathroom is open, someone's got to clean it out. I mean, there's costs.
Right, there's cost associated there too. And it is very specific in stating that when they finish for the day, they cannot leave their canopies sitting there overnight. They can't leave stuff up overnight. They've got to break it down.
Right.
I'm good with it. Same place, same place.
Okay, thank you.
Is it, did we already do the motion and the vote on
No.
this?
I make a motion to place the farmer's market vendors ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Any discussion? Vicky?
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Jim Lay.
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
JP Hodges.
Yes.
Motion carried.
17?
Yes, sir.
2024-17, an ordinance to establish standards for farmers markets, vendors within the city limits of Heber Springs, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Make a motion to place on second reading by title only.
Second.
Go ahead, Ally.
Second.
Any discussion? Vicky?
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
JP Hodges.
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Jim Lay.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinance 2024-17, an ordinance to establish standards for farmers markets vendors within the city limits of Heber Springs, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Make a motion to place on third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Jim Lay.
Yes.
JP Hodges.
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinance 2024-17, an ordinance to establish standards for farmers markets vendors within the city limits of Heber Springs, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Second.
Any discussion? Vicky?
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
JP Hodges.
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Jim Lay.
Yes.
Motion
Make-
carried.
Sorry. Make a motion to adopt the emergency clause.
Second.
Vicky?
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Jim Lay.
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
JP Hodges.
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, I do want to thank y'all for all y'all's work in helping with this. This has been a challenge to make sure it's done, so I do appreciate everybody's work and your input with that.
We got a bunch of variances coming your way.
Thank you, Ronnie, for all the work that you put into it. I know you worked hard on it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, new business, sanitation fee ordinance. This does not change the regular fee. This is for a late fee and a dumpster reinstatement fee.
All right. We do the whole thing?
Read by title only.
That's disappointing.
I know.
All right. Louis, you're so darn good at this.
Make a motion to place this ordinance for updating and revising the Heber Springs Municipal Code, Title 5, by title only.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Vicky?
Louis Short.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
JP Hodges.
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Jim Lay.
Yes.
Motion carried.
So sanitation ordinance number 2024, does this It's right in line, right, 18?
Yes.
An ordinance revising and updating provisions of the Heber Springs Municipal Code, Title V, Health and Sanitation, Chapter 5.16, Solid Waste Collection, and for other purposes.
Make a motion to place on second reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Sanitation ordinance number 2024-18. An ordinance revising and updating provisions of the Heber Springs Municipal Code, Title V, Health and Sanitation, Chapter 5.16, Solid Waste Collection, and for other purposes.
Make a motion to place on third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
JP Hodges.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I have a question, real quick.
Sure.
Is it too late? On the, where it says extra containers will be charged as shown on the red schedule,
Mm-hmm.
will it be up to the drivers collecting the trash to report the extra containers? Is that how we're monitoring that?
Yes.
Okay. And they will like keep up with it per address and then take the list to,
Bring it back to, Yeah, I did the same thing with the dumpsters. I had the privilege of riding along with one of the guys, and I helped him check his list off as we emptied dumpsters.
Did you get an orange suit, get on the back?
No, but I smelled it all weekend. I did get to empty one.
if there is like a confrontation, or not confront, I don't know if that's the right word, but how do we prove that?
They have a book that they can leave a note or a door hanger, and then they can call.
Okay. I was wondering if it might ever get to the point of needing to, like UPS takes a picture when they drop a package off or something
Well,
like
and if
that.
it is, if their dumpster's like way over full and there's stuff around the side, the guys do take pictures of that.
Really?
Yes.
That's good. That's it.
So we got through the motion and everything. So sanitation ordinance number 2024-18. An ordinance revising and updating provisions of the Heber Springs Municipal Code, Title V, Health and Sanitation, Chapter 5.16, Solid Waste Collection, and for other purposes.
I make a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Any more discussion? Okay. Vicky?
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Motion carried. Emergency clause?
There's nothing.
There's nothing on that.
It's just a revision, isn't it?
Oh,
yes.
do we need one?
There's one.
clause.
There is.
There's an emergency
Section
clause.
4.
There it is.
Make a motion to adopt the emergency.
Thank you.
Second.
And that was Adams? Yes.
Yes.
Vicky?
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Feel like Christmas with all these clauses.
No pun intended.
Next, the application for closure of section of 10th Street.
So this is,
It's just the map, right? That's all we have. in
this
the
is
packet.
just like right beside
No,
the
there's no
courthouse?
ordinance.
Oh, it's not in here. I'm not.
All I have is
This.
the map.
I have the map.
There's a map. We don't have an
That's all
ordinance.
I-
We don't, yeah.
Oh, well, I've got an ordinance. Would y'all like to,
You could read it.
I'd be happy to.
I mean, I don't mind to read it.
Oh, we just haven't seen it, so.
So what are
It
we
was
looking
sent
at?
out, it was sent out yesterday,
Yeah,
I
it's a
think.
separate one.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Check your emails, guys.
And the sheriff is here if we have any questions for him as well.
oh, I got it now.
This runs behind the jail.
But I got it. Additional. Here it is.
I'm looking for it. Yeah.
Oh, so you don't have it either?
Probably need to read it.
I just have lots of windows open here.
We need to read it.
An
But-
ordinance to
but-
vacate.
I'm sorry.
Do you want me to go ahead and read it? You got questions?
No, I was just, it's just what runs behind the courthouse and the jail, and
It's the little section of tent
that runs into your parking lot.
that runs into the parking lot.
Why
I'm
do you want
surprised we've even gotta do
Huh?
that.
I'll read it. An ordinance to vacate property and abandon all of the rights of the use of the city of Heber Springs to that portion south of 10th Street designated herein and for other purposes. Whereas the platted portion of South 10th Street lying between Block 34 and Block 35 of the Railroad Addition located to the north of Martin Street to the city of Heber Springs, more particularly described here and below, has been developed and used by the public, however, is no longer required for corporate purposes, and whereas the owner of Lot 6, Block 35, Railroad Addition, parcel ID 3000196-00, Lot 5, and Lot 4, Block 35, Railroad Addition, parcel ID 30001963000, Lot 3 and Lot 2, Block 35, Railroad Addition, parcel ID 30001962000, Lot 1, Block 35, Railroad Addition, parcel ID 30001961000, Block 34, Railroad Addition, parcel 30001960000E to the city of Heber Springs, Cleveland County, Arkansas, have filed the written consents for the vacation and abandonment of the street described above as the city of Heber Springs, Arkansas, and whereas all the property owners of the abutting upon the portion of the street to be vacated have filed with the council their written consents to the abandonment, and that public interest and welfare will not be advisory affected by the abandonment of the street, and whereas Arkansas Code annotated section 1454-104 confers upon the cities of the first class the authority to vacate such portions of streets and may not for the time being be required for the corporate purposes of the city, desires to abandon and vacate that portion of South 10th Street described above. Now therefore be ordained by the City Council of Heber Springs, Section 1, the City of Heber Springs, Arkansas hereby vacates and abandons all of its rights of use together with the rights of the public generally and in the following property described. That part of the 10th Street as shown in the original plat of Heber Springs, Cleveland County, Arkansas, lying east of Lot 1 through Lot 6, 35 Railroad Addition to the City of Heber Springs, and west of Lot 7 through Lot 12, Lot 34 Railroad Addition to the City of Heber Springs. Said property lies in the City of Heber Springs, Cleveland County, State of Arkansas. Said property lies in the City of Heber Springs, County of Cleveland, Arkansas. Section 2. A copy of the ordinance duly certified by the clerk or town recorder shall be filed in the office of the recorder of the county and recorded in the deeds of the county. Section 3. All ordinances and part of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 4. In the event of any section, subsection, or part of the ordinance is later ruled to be invalid, the other provisions of this ordinance shall remain in full force and in effect.
Make a motion to place on second reading by title only.
Second.
Vicki, when you're ready.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Lay, J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes,
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Motion carried. An ordinance to vacate property and abandon all rights of the use of the City of Heber Springs to that portion of South 10th Street designated herein and for other purposes.
Make a motion to place on third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Vicki?
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
J.P. Hodges,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Motion carried. An ordinance to vacate property and abandon all of the rights of use of the city of Heber Springs to that portion of South 10th Street designated herein and for other purposes.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Second.
Vicky?
Louis Short,
Yes.
Jim Lane,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Does that gotta have any emergency or adoption other than that?
No. Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.
You can't leave.
He says, watch me.
Okay, next new business, C, Los Locos alcohol permit ordinance.
Want me to do that one?
Sure.
All right. So that's ordinance, what, 2024-?
20.
All right. An ordinance approving the project permit application for Los Locos of Cleveland County Incorporated Restaurant, Heber Springs, line for the application of required permits from the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division per Arkansas Code annotated 39222 as amended. Whereas Los Locos of Cleveland County Incorporated Restaurants applied for a private club permit as required under Chapter 4.24.05 of Heber Springs City Code number 18-04 and Arkansas Annotated Code 39222, and whereas the application is limited and specific to Los Locos of Cleveland County Incorporated, and whereas Los Locos of Cleveland County, Arkansas, Cleveland County Incorporated Restaurant has provided all the information required for the permit application process, and whereas the City Council for the City of Heber Springs hereby approves the application for permit for the proposed location to operate a private club within the city limits of Heber Springs, and whereas this approval does not authorize the operation of a private club within the City of Heber Springs, but does function as authorization to apply for a private club permit through the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division per ACA 3-9-222. Now therefore be ordained by the City Council of Heber Springs, Arkansas, Section 1, that the application for the private club permit is hereby approved for as specific to Los Locos of Cleveland County Incorporated located at 2121 Highway 25B North, Heber Springs, Arkansas 72543. Section 2, that no private club operation shall begin unless and until the permit to operate a private club is issued by the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division. Section 3, that the approval and permit are subject to suspension or revocation by the city in the event of Los Locos of Cleveland County Incorporated restaurant violates Heber Springs City Code or state law.
Make a motion to place it on second reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
JP Hodges.
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinance 2024-20, an ordinance approving the private permit application for Los Locos Cleveland County Incorporated Restaurant Heber Springs and allowing for the application of the required permits for the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division for Arkansas Code annotated 3-9-222 as amended.
Make a motion to place on third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Vicky?
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes. Huh?
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, ordinance 2024-20, an ordinance approving the private permit application for Los Locos Cleveland County Incorporated Restaurant Heber Springs, allowing for the application of the required permits from the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division per Arkansas Code annotated 39222 as amended.
Make a motion we adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Vicky?
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Motion carried.
You're good. All right.
Okay, next, the kiosk change order. This bill's from Spurlock for $16,700.
Can we talk a little bit about what happened? Because after we heard about that there was a neighbor that was complaining, we talked about getting a survey. And
I
then
got the survey.
Okay, but I never really heard anything after that. So like, what was the process of what happened and then like the change order and?
So
Yeah.
I had two property owners that said that we were on their property. Well, it was my assumption that we had I want to use the right term, right of way.
Don't say assumption, it was more than an assumption. She
Yeah.
relied, the mayor relied on a city map that showed that there was a right of way.
Like a utility right
A
away?
utility right of way.
Right.
Yeah.
And the utility company seemed to agree. The, I don't know what you call it, the mechanics were put in what was believed to be the right of way. The neighbors said, we don't believe you do have a right of way. And when I looked, I could not find any source documents to show that we had a right of way of any sort. And one of the neighbors happens to be another lawyer, and she could not find any source documents, so it had to be moved.
But you don't have a right of way, like
I thought the
for
state
all
law on
utilities?
streets.
Yeah, I thought all utilities you have a
Well,
right of way.
typically in past times, if you put a road in, you would dedicate that property to the city. Well, there's no record of that.
But the street's maintained by the city.
It is.
So we
There's still-
have been
there's not a
sidewalks
paper
put in
trail.
I know.
and maintained for well more than 10
So
years.
after so long, and after you take care of that property, is there not something saying that,
Well, so
we
what
have
you-
rights?
What you're talking about is a prescriptive easement.
yeah,
And a prescriptive easement is not automatic. It involves a civil court action to declare that you have a prescriptive easement. That could have been very, very time-consuming and expensive. So the better option was to move the mechanics down the street onto
Core property.
core property.
However, I am getting an easement from one of the property owners where the electrical had already been ran. So thankfully that, still let us use part of what we had already done.
so y'all just opened a whole new can to me. So y'all are saying we don't own that road? Like, y'all just opened a whole new thing.
Well,
Because we just abandoned a road.
I mean,
Yeah, like,
actual Front Street, we maintain the road.
right.
How far down is it claim? I mean, do we buy the thing?
Well, we
like
got
past
it.
our driveway?
We got
We
it.
have a survey.
We got a
now.
survey.
And so where does it end? I'm just curious.
Well, at the core property.
So now that we have a survey, we're good.
Yes.
We know
so we
exactly-
do own the road.
We know exactly, we own the road, but we didn't have a utility easement with it.
Gotcha.
And because it's
So-
underground.
So we do own the road now. We just don't have a utility easement.
That's right. But
We're getting that.
we have already prepared the utility
Yes.
easement, we're just waiting for it.
So,
And he come back, I met with him Sunday morning, and he suggested that we widen the road a little bit closer away from the beach, which would be on his property. And so we have prepared another easement to include that.
So now he's working with y'all?
Yes.
Yes, he's been
Okay.
great to work with.
Okay.
okay,
As
where
long as
does
we're cleaning
that,
up, I'm sorry, Lane, I didn't mean to catch up. But as long as we've discovered that and are cleaning up, so we don't have to
Oh, it's
encounter that
cleaned
in
up
the future.
immediately. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, yes.
Yes.
No, I'm not
absolutely.
talking about that.
Oh, you're talking about
The easement
That's
in
what
the
we're
city.
trying to do.
Yeah, that's what-
Yes.
That's what we're
Yes.
trying to accomplish, is that, we weren't here 100 years ago or whenever
Yeah.
the road was put in, but we're.
Once we've made the discovery, we're cleaning it up from.
Absolutely.
does
Yeah.
that,
Yes.
do we have to go all the way back to Sunset doing that?
I don't
The
think.
street, no.
So from Sunset down to that point, we're good with all the rest of the streets?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I was told at one time that the last thing we had was Sunset.
Well, I've got documentation where used to be named Reservoir Road.
Okay.
That was in the 70s.
But all the streets,
We're cleaning up the mess the best that we can.
Yes.
We want to make sure that we are,
The streets that we're maintaining and spending taxpayer dollars on that we actually own.
that we own, right.
In the city, it's not like we didn't do due diligence.
It is not, and
The
that's
due
why I'm
diligence
correcting the
was
mayor
wrong.
when she said I made an assumption. She did not make an
Right.
assumption.
Well-
She relied on document
And
mapping
utility.
system.
the mapping
And
system.
Right.
But when pressed, we couldn't
Yeah.
find any documents to
Right.
back up where the map came from.
So it's not like we just went willy-nilly.
No, it is not.
No,
Not
we
at
had,
all.
that's why I stopped
It's just
construction.
expensive. It's like
It-
almost $17,000.
Yeah, it
That's why
is.
we, you know.
Yeah, but it could have been more.
Yeah.
So I had them stop
So-
construction.
Because didn't we have to put it in a specific spot so it wouldn't flood?
Well, they wanted it in a specific spot, but they were okay with letting us move it back.
So what now? Is it just like
So now it's in a
when
flood
it does flood now?
Well, when they come to install it, I'm gonna ask them about, if it does flood, is there a way to detach and move
It
it?
is. There's a way that you're gonna be able to cap the electrical and you'll be able to move just as he's putting it in, we can move it right out if we need to.
So if it floods, we'll be in preparation of that, because we don't wanna, that
Yeah.
machine was $30,000.
38 grand or something.
38,000 is total.
38,000, so,
With an extra 17.
50 grand.
Now.
yes.
And then an extra 59 later on
For what?
for the dumpster pad?
Oh, I've got that in a different, invoice, that's been taken care of. So, this is the actual invoice that you're approving. This was my backup documentation and the change order.
So we're only approving the 16,700,
Yes, ma'am.
which is
Change.
basically having to take out everything that we put in and move it down 10 feet.
Not everything, but.
Not
a
everything,
significant
but they had
portion.
already,
Added to.
they'd already cut the street and,
Mobilized,
Yeah,
demobilized.
mobilized.
Kinda too late. It's already done, so.
So they've already done the work.
Yeah, so
Like,
moved.
I mean.
yeah, second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
but
moved.
what was I to do?
I know, I mean,
Gotta pay it.
Call an emergency meeting?
No, I make a motion to pay them the money that we owe 'em for moving it.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Vicky?
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Motion carried. All right, Jim. Next up, we got the CDs.
Okay,
It's
so I'm
Eagle
showing-
and Babbitt.
So when I said we had $615,000, that includes the CDs,
Okay.
right? So we've got a couple $100,000 in CDs from the street fund. Do you guys want to pull the $100,000 we just allocated for emergency relief out of CDs? Are these even the ones that are for renewal? Or do we just want to grab it out of the general street fund checking?
I would say grab it out of checking, because do we still have a good
Interest rate?
interest rate on
We do.
those?
Yeah.
I would say keep
I would-
those at the
yeah.
interest rate they're
It's
at.
really good.
Yeah, I would say.
I'm not
I think
sure
it
if
even
those
went
As
up a
long as
couple
we
of
can
points.
keep rolling those CDs over, I'm good with doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say pull it out of checking.
Okay, so there's two checking accounts. It needs to come out of not the, one's listed as for security, one just is unlisted, it needs to come out of that one. The unlisted street fund checking.
Okay. Okay, but the CDs, you want to renew
Yes.
Yes.
3 months?
at both locations
Yes.
For 3
for
months?
3 months? Do we need to do those in a separate, in two different motions?
Aren't they they're every 3 months and they all renew at the exact same time?
Well,
they
they're
all-
like,
They're
roll.
staggered.
they're just a little bit off,
Yeah, so that
but
you
yeah.
can get them if you need
We
to.
just roll it.
I mean, I think we could just do it as a blanket, can't we? Or do you want me
Think
to,
so.
want me to list them all?
No, I've just got them listed as in two places.
We
You
can
can
do
just do the
one, right?
CDs.
Make a motion,
just
we
say
renew
renew.
these.
Motion to renew all CDs that are coming up for renewal
Yeah.
For 3 months.
for 3 months.
That's what we've done previously.
Right.
I'll second.
I think Andy already seconded.
That doesn't
He
matter.
made a motion.
Now I'm confused.
It doesn't
Take
matter.
like
Who
2
did
people
what?
make a motion.
Redo.
Go ahead, Andy.
I didn't, you made the motion. Make the motion to renew all the CDs for the next 3 months.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Hold on a second.
Vicky?
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, next up is the trash truck buyback. So in January, we had looked at doing $60,000 per year.
At least came back higher, didn't it?
Yes, yeah, so we actually need to approve $120 per year at $8,300 a month.
$120,000?
$120,000 per year,
So they're double what we thought they were gonna be.
yes. Well, not double,
If we approve
But-
60, now it's 120.
there you go.
Say again?
What?
They're 432,000.
These are just the regular ones, not the self-automatic ones,
Yeah,
right?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, these are just the ones
They're
where,
regular rear ones.
the ones that Kasey can get more experience on if she wants to,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Did you say you
I
wrote
might need
on
to get
them?
my CDL.
You said you wrote on the back of them?
I didn't write on the back, I wrote on the cab, but I did get to empty one.
Oh, okay. All right, so,
You don't wanna know what I saw.
and these are replacing two of the ones that are undersized or something like that, or
No,
what are they?
This is replacing the 2 buybacks that we had at the end of the year that we
Oh, okay. All right. Gotta pick up trash.
Yeah, we do.
I make a motion to approve up to $121,000 annually.
121,000?
How much is it?
120,000?
Like right on the money? There's no like change?
No, that gives us a little wiggle.
Okay, $120,000 for Scott to get a couple of dump trucks. No, garbage trucks.
Thank you.
Annually.
Correct.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Okay, Vicki?
Lewis, were you the second?
Yes.
Okay. Jim Lay,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
JP Hodges.
Yes.
Lewis Short.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next up, the Fire Bay construction contract is not completed yet. We're still waiting on some numbers. Nick, do you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, I think we should have that next meeting for approval. We met with Brian Thursday, last week. Yeah, we made some revisions, got them over to the contractor for pricing. So we had it for Thursday, didn't happen, so it'll probably be ready next week. So we can either do a special if you want to go quicker, or just do it next week. We'll be a lot to approve.
So we just, if you're cool with the timeline, let's just do it next month, right?
Thank you. Next, Brian hollered at me, and they've got a option to apply for a Department of Public Safety grant. It's up to 100%, up to $75,000, and he wants to try to get possibly a car and some equipment. So we just need the blessing to go ahead and apply for the grant.
I move we go ahead, let him apply.
Great,
I'll second.
thank you.
I knew he'd find a way to get another car.
Hey, if it's free, we'll take it. Well, you know, we have one that's got some bullet holes.
Oh, I know. It was a motion and a second on that?
The gyms.
Jim Lay made the
Jim.
motion and Jim Adams made the second.
Jim Lane?
Great.
Jim Lane.
Vicki?
Lewis Short,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs,
Absolutely.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Lay,
Yes.
JP Hodges,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Andy Eklund.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, next I had a little add-on, a resolution for Sandy Beach for the use of the kiosk and collection.
All right. I'll read it.
Jim, I'll read this one only because I've got a minor change I want to add. What number will this be if passed, Ms. Vicki?
Oh,
This
the
will be
resolution.
2024-06.
It's a resolution.
Yeah, the resolution.
Just advance notice, I have missed adding the annual pass that could be purchased for $40, so I'm just gonna add that language in. Resolution number 2024-06, a resolution establishing a fee for day use at Sandy Beach and authorizing the use of a kiosk for collection of said fee and for other purposes, be it resolved by the City of Heber Springs, Arkansas, The city council has determined that it's in the best interest of the city, its citizens, and residents to establish a fee for day use of the city park known as Sandy Beach, which is leased by the city from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in order to ensure public health, safety, and welfare insofar as they are affected by the maintenance of structures and premises within Sandy Beach. A day use fee of $5 per vehicle will be charged, and an annual pass may be purchased for $40. The fees shall be collected through use of a kiosk located at the entrance to Sandy Beach in accordance with the city's lease of the property with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. All monies received by the city from operations conducted on the premises must be utilized by the city for the administration, maintenance, operation, and development of the premises, and annual statements of receipts and expenditures shall be furnished to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
What's the annual?
Receipts.
40.
Do what? Yes, but did that start the day they buy it, or are we gonna do it fiscal, or?
Typically, it would be a fiscal, or a calendar year. And so at the end of the year, I've already spoke with Gary Ivy on all the things that Carrie and I have to get together. And it's gonna be all the money that we brought in, all of our expenditures, and any receipts that we purchased for Sandy Beach.
I think his question was about the pass.
The pass?
Yeah.
The
Okay.
pass is gonna be.
$40 pass?
Yes, but what's the?
Well, he means like if you buy it in June, does it end in 2024?
Oh, I think it's yearly.
365 days.
Yeah.
So whatever date you should buy it, 364 days later.
Yeah, and they need to come to the community center to purchase that.
Yeah, I feel like that's one thing that we will get pushback on, just because if they bypass a Saturday, the gate's gonna open and they'll be able to come in. They wouldn't come back Sunday morning and we don't open up until 1, then they'll be asked to pay a $5 fee until they come up, show their receipt at the community center to get their annual pass.
Can we put a sign on the kiosk?
Yeah,
that
that's
says-
part of that sign that we discussed the other day, all that's gonna have to be explained to them.
Yeah.
Joe, I spoke with Joe, he said the biggest complaint that we get is people throw their receipts away all the time. And their receipt's the one that shows that they paid $40 for the annual pass.
So they just scan it, is that?
Yeah, just like swipe it.
They'll get a pass, like a pass card for the year.
Have you guys had a lot of questions and comments about it?
No,
Really? Not at all?
no. I gave all my guys your number.
Well, they call.
I've probably fielded, I'm gonna say 15 phone calls about it, like a lot of people were talking about it, and they called me, I spent about 20 minutes with each one, probably talking to them, explaining to them. At the end of the conversation, it seemed very positive, and they were like, I'll go tell you. And I said, tell them to call me if they would like to, so, like I said, probably about 15 or so.
Did anybody else get calls about it?
Just
I've gotten-
asking,
yeah.
just asking.
Yeah, asking on.
And then when you explain, then they understand.
And where the funds are going, that was.
Where the funds are
the
going,
main
yeah.
concern.
So
Yeah.
you do have to come to the community center to fill out paperwork to have
To
a
get the
40-year,
pass.
Just for the year pass.
to get the annual pass?
Yeah,
But-
just because they had to get a card.
Yeah.
Pull up at the gate, you're gonna have 2 options, it's gonna be $5 or $40. You choose the 5, it's gonna print out a receipt, the gate's gonna open, you're gonna drive in, you can throw your receipt away, hopefully in the trash can on the beach. Next car pulls up, they want the annual pass, they push it, they need to save the receipt, so they have to bring that receipt up to the community center, where I'm in the training hopefully next week, to determine how we activate the card, make sure it's active for 364 days from that standpoint, give them the card, and go on about the business.
Cool.
They only have to hang on to it for a day or two tops. They only have to hang on to it for a day or two
Yeah,
tops.
exactly. But, like I said, Joe said people will call a month later, you know. and-
Is there a way to just purchase it at the community center and make one stop here?
Yeah,
Well, we could, but I guess it wouldn't be ran through the Ventec system and that system that me and Carrie were talking about, trying to get it set up. Because we have to have a third-party vendor getting into the weeds now.
but you can put it on your sheet that you turn in every day.
Yeah, we should be able to do something like that. It would just be different. I guess, yeah, we could. Yeah, that would be it.
Seems convenient.
I just don't know if I'll have to actually act, like each card will have a number, if I have to activate each card as they're paying for it, or if I can go ahead and activate like 100 cards, leave them in a stack, and then as people pay for them, they're already activated as they go. Because I want to make sure that I'm here, because if it's Sunday, somebody comes in and buys a pass, if I'm not here to activate it, they go and use it, it's not work for them until activated. So I want to make sure that process.
Well, hopefully they'll cover that in your training or whatever.
Yeah, so it's actually going to be installed Tuesday.
Right.
And so we'll go from there.
You know, at one time, we had briefly discussed that if you were a member of the community center, that it would work for your pass as well. Is that out the window, or is that?
I think that went out because of the match the core fees, right?
My
Yeah.
understanding, we talking with the court, but they want us to match. You know, at the end of the day, it's their property, even though we're leasing it. We want to match their prices. They didn't want us to go higher than the $5 or be lower than the $5.
Do they have an annual?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to, just revenue purposes, Table Rock Lake up in Branson, beautiful lake, they had $250,000 from October through July 8th. Our lake, Pierce Ferry, and all of them have done this year done $315,000. So it's awesome. I mean, and I love our lake as well, but Table Rock Lake's a very nice lake too. We're looking at $65,000 more people coming, $5 a car coming to our lake.
Will the $40 pass for Sandy Beach be for all core areas or just Sandy Beach?
Just Sandy Beach, yeah. Okay.
So they gotta bring the receipt, and if they lose the receipt, they're out of luck.
Joe said, well, I haven't had that training yet. Joe said there's a way to look it up, and there's a lot more to it. It's a lot
Yeah.
difficult trying to go through all the transactions and trying to find what they're matching.
And they may have to show us some way, like
Bank.
their banking app or something.
Yeah, I was wondering if that would be an option, because I have a feeling, I mean. that
Oh, it's
would
gonna
probably-
happen.
Yeah, it's going to, because if you're coming to the lake, you know, you just lose the receipts.
Well, and if you go to a parking garage, you just stick in your.
Well, and
voucher.
it's only for the annual pass that
Right.
you have to. Right.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
We pass the resolution. Do we need to read it again or by title or any
Nope.
of that? Okay.
Just a vote.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? Vicky?
Jim Lane,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Lane Tubbs.
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Andy Eklund,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
JP Hodges.
Motion carried. Next, we have open mic. Would anybody like to address the council? Come on up, state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
There's one more too. It looks behind her.
Huh?
There was one more after her. I saw
Another
a hand
lady?
go up.
Another person?
Mr.
Okay.
Parker. No, you go first.
No, you're fine.
What I wanted to address everybody about was,
She needs the microphone.
Please hold it.
Yes, please.
It's mostly for the video that's being recorded.
So what I came to talk about today is the flooding issue that has happened recently with the rain that we had. I have spoken with several other people who are on the Heber Springs Facebook page. They have posted videos and pictures of damages that they've received. My house also was gotten by it, unfortunately, just in the laundry room in my bedroom, thankfully. But apparently, as I tore things apart today and last night, this has been an ongoing issue. Several people I spoke with in the community have said that they've asked for over 20 years for something to be done about it and looked at. So I'm here to address that today because I worked hard to get myself into that house. I did it by myself. Nobody else helped me. And I still continue to work my butt off. But if the system for the drainage is not addressed, this is going to continue to be a major, massive problem for people. And in this kind of economy, nobody can afford that kind of crap right now. They just can't. You know, I grew up with a lot of blue-collar, hard-working people. I came from a lot of family with farmers, police officers, state troopers. They did a lot of things, a lot of hard work, a lot of hard jobs. My dad would always tell me, work smarter, not harder. And if you're gonna do something, you do it right the first time. If by some chance, the first time you did it and it didn't work out, you go back to the drawing board and you start over again. So what I'm asking is if we can come up with something, because I really do not want this to happen the next rain that comes. I cannot afford it.
Where do you live?
I live on 206 South 11th Street. Water department came by today and looked at exposed piping. There was one of concern, and it is a sewer line. He explained to me, and he said, but unfortunately, they've got to wait until the water goes down before they can actually get in there and address that. But it eroded part of the ground away from where the culvert is. Not to mention, I have photos, and I did a drawing because I couldn't lift the wood lid by myself. There is a wall, a reservoir, like a backup reservoir. It's on the property beside me. So like if I'm standing facing my house, it would be the property to the right of me, has like yellow siding around it. I forgot the number. I did call the owner of that house though today and made him aware of that wood board structure that's on top of this reservoir. Because when that water come through there, because 3 massive pipes are feeding into that. I don't know when the last time that thing was cleaned out either, because I can tell you it's been a while. All the debris ended up in my yard, my carport, and then in my house.
Did you notice the debris before this event?
No, because I'm pretty sure it was inside that reservoir.
And the reason I ask, and I'm not arguing with you, but this particular rain brought stuff out of the.
Oh, I'm aware, because when I was able to lift the lid up with the help of my son and my other neighbor on the other side of me, because we were just curious as to how deep it went down. We seen 3 massive pipes that feed into it. But having a wood lid on top of that is not sufficient. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a hazard. If a family bought that property, their kids over there playing on a rotted piece of wood, they fall through that into that reservoir, now you're gonna have a major problem. Now there's 2 pipes that feed out of the reservoir that go under my driveway, but that feeds into a singular pipe that is directly under me to go into the ditch. When you have 2 pipes coming out and feeding into one, that's gonna build up a massive amount of pressure. I am no science guru by any means or genius, but however, science is science and math is math, right? So when you have that much flow coming out with 2 pipes going into one, you are going to have a lot of problems with that. There was so much pressure, it was ridiculous. And that's how it ended up in my house. Now, I would like to thank the mayor, though, for taking the time to talk to me the other day about this. I do really appreciate you doing that. And I am not putting any of this or y'all at blame for this. I'm sure that these were decisions and things that were done many, many years ago. But it is something that's going to have to be done. It just, my house shouldn't be at flood risk where it's located. But when I seen the water shooting the wood lid off the top of that reservoir, but I had to go to work because my job pays the bills, it made me go look when I got home. And then I figured it out.
So what, do you know what those pipes, are those water department, are they?
I haven't been by to look at it.
Okay.
You're right across from First Assembly of God, is that?
Yes, my property faces the back of the church.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
looking.
And that pipe, where is
I mean,
it?
Yeah.
Is the pipe on your property or right adjacent to it?
Well, there's several pipes. There's the 3 that feed. You know what, let me just show you the diagram I drew out, because it's accurate, it's as accurate as I could get it, but it's pretty spot on.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
My name is Regina.
Regina?
Mhm.
Regina, I'm with you. I'm going home when we get down here to pump water out of a basement.
Right.
I don't know if you were here earlier in the night. How much is it, Nick? $7-8 million we're about to spend doing that? I mean, we're in a $7 million project to fix that stuff right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's eroded away, like how fast it was shooting out once those 2 tubes hit that singular tube. it's eroded that water sewer line completely to the surface.
Yeah.
Then you've got it's probably about, maybe, I was looking at it today with my other neighbor, and I think it might be like 1.5 inches away from starting to erode the actual street at that point. And, you know,
This
and
was a
also
hard
thank you
one.
for the sandbags that you
Yeah.
sent. I know it didn't, we didn't get any more rain, thank God.
Yeah.
I was so thankful for that.
And it's saturated and we don't want any more.
No, I
right
do
now.
not, no, I do not need any more. But that water did shoot out from underneath the reservoir and that lid, that piece of wood lid, and shot, it was so high pressured, it shot over the fence. And, I mean, it beat the heck out of my garden. I mean, it just, my corn is like permanently leaning now.
Did you happen to video any of that?
No, so I was in the corporate car for the company I work with, and if I even touch my cell phone, goodbye job.
And we all know yesterday was totally out of the ordinary.
But I do have pictures of what my yard looked like before.
Right.
Like before I left.
And unfortunately, I mean, you're in my ward, and well, I have the same issues at my house.
Yeah.
Thank God it isn't in my house, but we put in a $2,000 or $3,000 French drain.
I saw our pictures yesterday, or the day before.
I took video yesterday, and it's not, you know, it just not working.
French drain wasn't doing its job.
I don't know what the solution is, because it's all over town that way, especially that end of town.
Yeah.
Down, you know, on the bottom end of the hill. So I don't know what the solution, or when. the
Well,
solution
we may need to get with the water department and see what those lines are, if
Yes.
there's a way to address that.
Yeah.
Maybe dig out a ditch, I don't know. I think maybe we should all go over there and look at it.
I will say that down that street though, Mayor, there is a lot of properties that, like, their ditches and culverts are almost obsolete. Like, when I say obsolete, like, if there was a culvert there, I don't see
Yeah,
one.
we have no ditches in my neighborhood at all.
I mean, we're
You got
in a
landfall
valley,
ditches.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
and that
there's-
might be something we need to make some sort of plan for, and, you know. So, we will
Yeah,
get over
I'm
there
just trying
and
to
look
let
at
you
it.
know, we'll-
No, and I greatly appreciate you, like I said, you talking to me the other day.
Yes, ma'am, no problem.
And I don't blame any of y'all, because the town is old, and I'm sure systems are still being updated as things progress and go on.
Yes, ma'am.
And the more concrete gets poured, the worse it gets, so.
In instances, yes, correct. That seems to go, but I don't know who originally approved the plan to have 2 culverts flow into one. That was a terrible, terrible idea. And I would definitely say that probably needs to be adjusted, because otherwise that's just gonna completely erode that away eventually.
We'll look at it. Thank you, Regina, for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, on my street, Windermere, sorry.
What? What's that?
Westgate. That was in Tennessee.
Regina.
They've asphalted, over the years, they've asphalted like, they've asphalted like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, I'm talking to you.
Sorry,
And that's all
squirrel.
right. And the water runs over the street into my yard, into the house. And I have to sump it out of my house. I have to put in a pump. But I'm working on it.
Holy shit, holy.
Somebody's house.
I think I know where that is.
I do too.
I can't tell.
We can't tell from up here.
Well, that is mostly for the video.
Oh,
Yeah. Can you state your name, sir?
Myron Phil Parker the fourth. I live at 621 Brook Drive. The first photo I showed you, and I've been to code enforcement several times, that's the corner of Brook Drive, and it's actually sitting on Brook Drive. And was it Cross Street that comes through there? Yes, Cross Street. Let me grab my phone, make sure I'm correct on everything.
What is it?
Yes, that's Cross Street.
Brooke?
And,
Where's Brook Drive? Like
where
around
is that?
town, where's that at?
Brook Drive?
It's
Yeah.
up toward the old hospital, toward the
Yeah,
county building.
that's
Okay.
Okay.
Should go to
Uh,
Ash.
I went to code enforcement about that. Code enforcement told me that because of where it's sitting, it's actually the police department. I go to the police department about it, they said it's actually code enforcement. So I'm getting the two, telling me different things, and I really don't care whose it is. but it's been there for a month, and when I was leaving my house, the guy that owns that property was pulling up with another truck full to put on top of that. So, I
What is
mean,
it? Just junk?
there's gotta
So-
be some type of code against
Is
that.
it just it's a car that's full of crap?
Is it abandoned? Is
No,
it part-
that's
Looks
a
like a
trailer.
trailer.
Oh, that's a
on-
trailer.
It's on the side of the road and the easement. And that's why code enforcement told me it was, the police department's
They're on the
deal to
side.
mess with. The police department is telling me
It's
it's
a
code
road right
enforcement.
there.
Are they in the middle of a how long did you say it's been there?
It's been there for over a month. Oh, no, they're not remodeling their house. This guy, I guess, does carpet or something somewhere else, and he
Okay.
just dumps it. And he's got a enclosed backyard he could be putting that into.
Yeah.
But that's the first issue. The next issue is the house where you see the car that's being worked on and the high grass and all the stuff around everywhere.
Oh, these are different houses?
Yes. The other one is the house directly beside my house. And I'm at 621 Brook Drive. And let me see, I got that address for you.
Bill, have you
That
talked
one
to,
is at
have you talked to your
629
neighbors?
Brook Drive. Yeah, there's, you know, I don't want, I really, my feelings on him, I really can't say here, so. But, you know, I talked to code enforcement. Code enforcement said that all they can go by is, you know, talk to him, leave him a notice, tell him he's got to get it cleaned up. The height of the yard that it is right now, I mowed his yard for him roughly 3 weeks ago. And then 2 days after that, on a Sunday, the engine light on my car come on. So the next day, I took my brand new car to Kia, and they said it come on because I had rats and stuff chewing on my air filter and on my wires. So, you know, and all the stuff that you see around this house, it's not like it's for his kids. It's trash. They don't use it. And they've promised a couple times that they're going to get hauled off, and it never happens. And then I also told code enforcement, and they said they can't do anything about the backyard. The grass in the backyard is probably chest high on me, and I wasn't able to get a picture of it. And so that's probably where all the rats and everything are coming from. So
We have an
I'm looking
ordinance
for answers.
for the height of grass,
Because of farming.
24 inches.
Well, that's way shorter than his chest.
Yeah.
And I haven't, I will address when you come and spoke to me about the backyard on that one.
Yeah.
I have not been by there yet. I was out of town yesterday, and with all the other storm mess, I haven't gotten a chance to go by
Okay.
there yet today. On that one, to look at it, to see what we can do as far as sending them letters. So we have not sent that one a letter yet.
Okay.
Regarding getting that yard mowed.
But, you
What
know,
about the vehicle and the trailer? I know don't we have like an abandoned car?
Yeah,
So-
but if they're working on it, it's hard to do something about what's in their
If it's not a car, it's a
This
trailer.
It's a
What?
trailer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
It's
was
two
looking at
different
this other
houses.
one.
Yeah, there's two
And
different
it's
properties.
two different
The
properties.
car is beside me, and he hadn't touched that car in over a month. And he's got the engine all tore apart, and I mean, it's,
There's something about, in the ordinance about, if it's in the carport, it's
Right,
okay,
right.
but
I
if it's
haven't-
spilling out around it, it's not.
And again, that's still that's the same house that I haven't gone up and looked at
yes,
yet.
yeah.
Now back to let me address the trailer one.
Okay.
So when I went to the police department over that, there was actually an issue with some licensing and some license plates, and looking to see if there was a way to address that outside of just going to them and having it towed. See if there was an actual legal issue there, is what we were addressing with PD on that.
Looks like you may be too close to the stop sign.
But as far as it's sitting on the side of the street, we have addressed that with PD, and because it's on Brook Drive there, because it's out of the roadway and it's not an imminent hazard in the roadway.
Well, I mean, if you look at the pictures, I mean, part of it's in the roadway.
Well,
There is
Is it
wheel
close to a
in it.
stop sign? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's
the-
probably 10 to 15 feet from the stop sign.
From the stop sign?
Yes, sir.
Sheep Hill, would that, I don't know, would that be
I haven't seen that.
okay.
certainly has a time.
I don't know if it'd be a visibility issue for cars at that stop sign. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Oh, yeah. So there's no curb there.
Well, actually, on our street, y'all done a pretty good job of getting the cars to where they park in the driveway. Now, the street over, there's still an issue, but y'all done a pretty good job of cleaning it up to where everybody's parking in the driveway. Okay. Because you make them.
That's close.
Yes.
I probably can't stay there. That's an obstruction.
That's what I was wondering.
As far as whether it's a pile of crap on there, I don't know, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're
And
back to code enforcement.
Yeah,
For the-
and it sat
yes,
there
for
for a
the-
month? You
Yes.
said a month?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we gotta get that moved.
Yeah.
And I would think it's close enough to the stop sign that it's almost an obstruction to the
Yeah,
stop sign.
that needs to be moved.
What is in the books in terms of something like that, covering trash? What is our, do we have an ordinance on something like
Do we
that?
need to do an
Do we need
ordinance on
an ordinance?
something?
No, we've got, so the ordinance would say, and again, I don't have it right in front of me, but it is a written notice first.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Sure.
Yeah. And then we can address directly to them. With this one, with the situation in it, we're just gonna go knock on the door.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go knock on the door and explain to them that this can't be sitting here, we need to get it moved.
So that's the trailer, and then you go by and look and
Yeah,
do the
then we'll
letter.
look at the house and your backyard.
Okay. Because I think that was one of the points of the ordinance for the grassland was farming in town, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how does that affect in a backyard where you can't see it, it's
I
fenced
think you
in?
still have to keep it
It's
mowed.
24
It's
inches,
still
isn't it?
to be done. 24 inches is high.
Yeah.
That is high.
I think it was like, and I don't remember if this was the one that pertained to the one across from the municipal
vacant
building or
or-
not. But it was like vacant or something, we kept it so it could be bush hogged a couple times a year or something like that.
Yeah, and we call him and he comes and does that.
Yeah.
That was specifically for bacon.
Correct.
Pella, it sounds like we're to the
Unimproved
right
property.
place now. Maybe we can help
Okay.
you. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that. That's Ronnie's. has
Yeah,
to
well,
do that,
in the
but-
front yard of it, if I wouldn't have mowed it several weeks ago, it'd be 24 inches high.
Well, a good neighbor will keep his yard mowed for his neighbor.
It's rough, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parker.
Thank you for letting us know.
You want these pictures back?
No, no.
Thank
I
you,
live next to it, I see it.
sir. Anybody else?
Give you something to.
Okay. All right, announcements. We're gonna have open house at the new city hall next Thursday from 2 to 4. I'd encourage anybody that wants to come to please come check it out. We'll have light refreshments. Mr. Roddy Martin is going to retire tomorrow. We will have cake at lunchtime down at Public Works if anyone's interested in coming and telling him congratulations. Then we got school starting back up. We got
Boo.
we got Cuts for Kids, August 10th. There's a couple of businesses taking donations for supplies. You can drop them off at Allstate or the Yellowbird. And then school will start the 14th.
The nursing home they're collecting them too.
Oh, they are?
The one
Which
that's
one?
on.
Weddingford?
Yes. They're collecting
7
what?
school supplies?
Yes, they're collecting.
Oh, thank
The
you.
Springs.
The
Springs
Springs?
at Gooseberry.
Okay,
They're
great.
Dollar Tree is collecting school supplies.
They are? Okay. Great, thank you, guys.
What time's the open house?
2 to 4
PM?
next Thursday.
Not AM.
PM.
Oh, Lord, no. And then we still have Foodie Fest and Makers Market going on. Allie, do you have anything else
And
that's?
Ronnie's deal's from 12 or so. What?
Ronnie's thing is at lunch, 12?
Yeah, starts at 12.
And then open house for school students will be the 6th and the 8th of August. Is there anything else going on? Okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn so I can get back to the RNC convention.
Second.
Thank you, thank you.
The convention